Honda sells the Honda Prologue for the same reason they sold the Honda Passport, except this time it's even more of a legitimate reason. Yes, the Prologue is a $50,000 EV, but no one is paying $50,000 for it. Nobody except the very early people.
I paid $50,000 out the door, minus taxes and fees.
And I would still make the same decision 100 times out of 100, because my reason for buying a Honda Prologue was because the purchase of it allowed me to no longer own a Fisker Ocean and to be able to cut my net loss from the MSRP to the trade-in value right around $10,000. Obviously, there were other fees involved, and I did a whole breakdown on that here on the channel. But the reason I bought the Prologue is not far away from the reason Honda sells it. The truth is, an electric drive motor is better than an internal combustion powertrain. The two words together, internal and combustion, should tell that entire story, even if we have been doing it wrong for 100 years. An electric drivetrain is more efficient and has lower maintenance, but has only been mainstream for about 10 years. Once we get a mature hold on the battery technology and find better ways to source raw materials, there will be absolutely no way to compare a gas car to an electric vehicle. Honda knows this better than anyone else, but they are an engine company, and that kind of tradition and pedigree is hard to abandon. Oh, you're a sock company and you've been making socks for 100 years? How about stopping that and making buttons tomorrow? That's what the transition to electric looks like for Honda on the inside. But if you don't join the race, you will lose by default, and Honda doesn't want to end up another Nissan. Fun fact, Honda is about to become Nissan, so that's 99 problems enough, I'm sure. But being a Japanese company and trying to hedge their bets between the current and future markets, Honda has decided to make the safest possible play to enter the EV space. Step 1. Find the most affordable contract manufacturing partner that you can and ask them to build exactly one EV. Check. Step 2. Take a design you've been working on for a decade and actually decide what powertrain to put in it. If you're a fan of Honda, the electric whatever Zero, I guess that's also representative of the number they've built, series has been on their website for over 10 years. They've never told you any of the stats. They don't want to tell you the powertrain, but I signed up for emails regarding that form factor of concept car from Honda sometime just after 2010. It might have been even earlier. And in 2026 or 7, depending on who you ask, Honda will release some electric model that is actually a Honda, and guess who will be coming back to the dealership as their 2- and 3-year leases run out? You guessed it, Honda Prologue owners. There will be a massive group of people who are just coming off of their lease, and what was the mileage like on these leases? Was it a ton of miles? Leases typically don't give you a ton of mileage, and they charge a lot of extra money when you go over. So, to avoid the penalty on your lease when you turn in your Prologue, Honda will have a shiny new EV waiting for you on the dealer lot that will offset your current lease penalty. Sell 33,000 Prologues last year, sell 33,000 Honda Zero whatevers next year. That's exactly what Honda has done with the Prologue and, if we look back, the Honda Passport. By the early 90s, SUVs were gaining popularity faster than any other automotive segment ever was. Ford sold 249,000 Ford Explorers in 1991. Chevy 123,000. And remember, Chevy had other brands too that sold this same vehicle. The Chevy S10 Blazer was accompanied by the GMC Jimmy. And the exact sales numbers are indeed a little murky because the Jimmy and the K5 Blazer existed at the same time as the S10 Blazer and its twin Jimmy. And in 1991 and 1992, Honda sold no SUVs. They could not compete at all. It was time to call a Zuzu, slap a Honda badge and a whole bunch of buyers on it, and build up some brand loyalty overnight. 4 model years later, in 1997, the SUV that Honda did release was an absolute smash hit. I see 97 CR-Vs delivering the mail to this day on a regular basis. They hit it out of the park. The CR-V is a tank and a staple on American roads. Edmunds writes that it, quote, has the functionality of a sport utility without having to pay an exorbitant sticker price and huge gas bills. And it wasn't because it had the best design, or it was the most flashy, or it was really even the newest thing. You could buy a Toyota RAV4 before you could buy a Honda CR-V. It had excellent fuel economy for the segment, it had all-wheel drive performance, 4-wheel double wishbone suspension, built on the platform of a very reliable car, and drove like, quote, a car, end quote. And Honda will do this again with electric vehicles. And you can guess the release date based on the expiration of these Honda Prologue leases. So that's why it's important Honda does numbers with this vehicle they didn't even build. They're being built so fast, in fact, errors are being made. Parts are not being installed installed properly, and seeing someone breaking down and having to drop their Prologue back off at the dealership in the first 1,000 miles is not uncommon. But in the event you get a good one, GM likely has the best powertrain and technology combination in the United States outside of Tesla. The sales numbers agree. GM was the second best-selling manufacturer of EVs in 2024. Is the Hyundai Ioniq 5 a better car? Sure, but GM always knows how to move the units. Building them in the US won that battle in 2024 as Hyundais did not get the tax credit and had to put a lot of cash on the hood to sell units. Funny thing about the GM sales though is they don't even include the Prologue. By tapping GM in 2024, Honda was able to outsell Toyota, Subaru, Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Polestar, and Rivian, and others, using someone else's car in Q4. When Honda actually drops a real EV, they won't be a market leader, but they will have an offering that is as good as everything else and sucks at nothing. And of course, it will come with that inescapable Honda charm. And the Honda Prologue, regardless of profit or long-term quality, will have gotten them there. So, Prologue owners, are we pawns of Honda? Perhaps. Are we victims of our own brand loyalty? Or, I offer you this, did we just lease the cheapest thing that they had on the lot? Regardless of the answer, Honda is very firmly planted directly in the middle of the competitive EV sphere in the United States and has historical performance and excessive caution and planning to thank for it. The Prologue has effectively created a future customer base for Honda electric vehicles before Honda was ready to enter the EV market. And if that's not just good business, let me know why down in the comments. And if you recognized the clip from earlier, there's a throwback to another great business move directly related to it. Buy a phone, sell an album. Build a GM, sell a Honda. Totally unrelated, this is not a good business decision. That said, let me know your thoughts on the Honda Prologue and the fact that Honda tapped GM to build it. And if you're genuinely interested in, just bought, or already own a Honda Prologue, you've come to the right place. I have a deep dive into everything you need to know about it. I have complete step-by-step processes on how to get it to work at a Tesla supercharger and which ones you can use. I have an entire video that explains not only Honda Prologue charging, but charging in general at a very deep but easy to understand level, and my full purchase process, reason for buying, tours, features, road trips, efficiency testing, reviews of the Prologue are all present on this channel. I definitely recommend my Honda Prologue playlist. Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you join Patreon or become a YouTube member for early access to videos. Those of you who have done this have helped me greatly. I sincerely appreciate any support, like grabbing this shirt from ev80kit.com. Design available here. Subscribe for more. We'll see ya on the next one.
Hey! Smash the like button!
Thank you.
Oh, you're a sock company and you've been making socks for 100 years? How about stopping that and making buttons tomorrow?